So it'll take a little while for
everything to pop up.
Stream elements to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
But we have that. So I'm going to also tag people since nobody ever sees the post unless I tag them.
I know, I just shared it.
In the comments.
Said that we were live. And that I'm in the studio.
What the hell?
All sorts of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not gonna lie. Almost, if you hadn't thought of it, I would have just completely forgot about podcasts.
Yeah, Facebook's tagging is awful. It is just awful, and that's why I hate it.
Oh.
Yeah, like it goes from people that I know to like complete strangers that have verified pages. It's like,
weird.
In what world would I want to tag people that I have no relationship with?
That's weird.
Over people that actually like the page and stuff like that.
That you have a relationship with, or
I don't.
As you said, that of like the page, stuff like that.
I don't understand.
No. I don't know.
That's probably good for now.
Cool. Mm.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, there might not be stream elements. I may have killed that chat bot. So there may or may not be a notice of when the stream is live in chat. So we should just assume that it's live.
Okay, sounds good.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
So, since we're a bit late, let's not dilly-dally, although I need to write a show opening. Mm-hmm. Just so that I don't
you have something to read off of.
Yeah. Coming up on episode 169.
Talk about our resolutions.
Bah.
I have one this year.
I know you have one.
Mm-hmm.
There. Something simple. Okay, so let's do this.
Yes.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up on episode 169, our thoughts on Rise of Skywalker. Toss a coin to your Witcher, and much, much more, because it's a special New Year's episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast, bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and with me is my wonderful co-host, as always, and in studio this week, Courtney Boland.
Hey, everybody!
So, we were doing a big New Year's Day hangout type thing, so...
I wouldn't use big. We were chilling and watching Doctor Who all day.
That's true. So, normally, if we're just hanging out, we'll have Courtney kind of just like hang out and we'll do an in-studio episode. So yeah, for the folks that are watching on Twitch, the reason why we have this empty space on the right hand side is for the chat, so that the chat will actually show up on the stream. This is not. There will not be a surprise guest appearance by anybody. So,
no. This is so that when chat comes, like, it goes right on the screen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just in case anybody was thinking that, we are not going to get a surprise appearance by Josh York or
there's no room in here,
or Joey Image or Bo Schwartz or anybody like that. So, well, not just
yeah, from the extra,
not in studio. But so yeah, 2019's gone.
Yep.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
2020's here.
Yes.
We've some big things coming up this year.
Yeah.
Is we have Animal Crossing coming out in March.
Yep.
There's Final Fantasy VII Remastered.
Yes.
Or whatever they're calling
whatever
it. The remake.
Yep.
Coming out in I think April.
I think so. I think it was.
It's around that. It's around the same time.
Yeah.
And then Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yes.
Remastered later this year.
Yes.
But aside from that, it's kind of quiet.
I mean, depends on what you call quiet, because we also have, I'm bringing up my pre-orders over on GameStop, because at some point this year, we're also going to be getting Gods and Monsters out on Switch, and the Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga.
I wouldn't consider any of those like super big releases.
They're not super big, but they are fun.
I mean, I know Gods and Monsters, is that an indie title or is that Ubisoft?
I believe that's Ubisoft.
Yeah. But I mean, they're not
like the huge major.
I think this year will be an interesting E3, because I think this will be the E3 where Sony and Microsoft really show off PS5 and
the Project Scarlet, whatever they're calling it.
It's the Xbox X or something, or the Xbox X or whatever.
I don't know. It's a brick.
It's Microsoft really needs to work on their branding strategy.
It's a brick. That's all I got.
Like once again, you can't go halfway between like just doing a numerical system like Sony does, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Or coming up with a unique name for each console system like Nintendo does. Like they're kind of falling halfway between and not really committing one way or the other.
Yep.
And that's where we end up with like Xbox One X, Xbox One XS.
Yep.
Or just Xbox X or something. I don't know.
Xbox Series X.
Oh, Xbox Series X.
Yes. Because when I type in Project Scarlet on Google, it knows exactly what to bring me to. Thank you,
like
Google.
Calling it the Xbox Scarlet would have been cool.
Would have been fine. Yeah.
Or something, and make it like an actual like red color. Go full in on it.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have been.
But we'll see. I think Scarlet, the Series X is supposed to be about cloud gaming, right?
Yes, because Xbox recently released a disc-free system of the X.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
I know cloud gaming is certainly bigger in places that are not the United States.
Yes.
So
places that have good internet.
We just don't, as a country, we do not have a great unified internet plan.
I think that's a good way to put it, because in some bigger cities you do have really good download speeds, but in some parts of that exact same city you'll get crud, and it really depends on not the physical internet, but it depends on your provider, which comes down a lot to money.
Yeah.
So,
and I get the problem is that because we're such a big nation, like both geographically and kind of population-wise, that it poses challenges. Yeah. More so geographically, but I don't know. It's the fact that if you even want to break it down state by state.
Oh yeah, I mean,
even states can't bargain with the conglomerates to try and like force things. It falls down to municipalities, who then like have no leverage power because they get forced into contracts.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's a rant for another day. And then from Nintendo, who knows? Maybe we'll see
I think
like maybe we'll see something from Metroid Prime.
Oh, we're talking games. Okay, I was gonna say, I think they did their system things.
Yeah, Nintendo's
already.
not on the same console cycle.
Yeah, they're not.
And as Sony and Microsoft anymore. They kind of broke that with the Wii U, and so now they're kind of like on an off cycle.
Yep.
But it's been some time since we've had any news for Metroid Prime, and the last news that we got was that it was being completely scrapped and redone.
Yeah, I at first look online, according to what Google gives me.
We might see some more info on Breath of the Wild 2.
Yes, that is what I'm seeing. Some Mega Man 0 and ZX Legacy Edition. Let's see.
I mean, that might be coming out even before E3.
Possibly. Doom Eternal is going to be coming out. An update for Minecraft Dungeons.
These though, I don't see those as being big E3 announcements though.
No, I'm trying to think like any of these that I see. It's not.
We do have more Smash Fighters.
Oh, Halo Infinite
have yet to be announced.
Halo Infinite also.
Okay, I mean that'll be on the Xbox side.
I'm seeing this on Nintendo.
I
know that.
odd.
Yeah, that's why I see it, and I'm like, wait, that's weird, because it's usually no. Okay, it's Google being weird. That's all. All right, I was like, wait.
Yeah,
a
you might be searching for E3.
No, I searched Nintendo 2020 games.
Okay, well, it might just be doing 2020 games.
It might be, yeah. I was like, wait a minute, Halo. That's so yeah. Odd.
Did it again.
Hit it.
Sorry, folks. There is a
cord.
USB cord that is like in the way.
Mm-hmm.
That currently controls Courtney's camera.
Controls my camera. It controls my world, and I just went sideways a little.
So, I need tape for a lot of these cords under my desk. So yeah, so we've got that coming up.
Yep.
I mean, as far as theatrical releases, like Marvel's got some stuff, but like it's kind of, I feel like, you know, like what Josh York was getting into was like now that Endgame's done, like.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've
kind of the excitement's over.
I mean, we've got Black Widow.
That's not coming out in theaters though.
Oh, that's right. That's going straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I'm like, the big ones that I know are, you know, we've got Mulan, the new Wonder Woman movie. What is this with an Artemis Fowl film? No.
So I mean, that's true. We do have Wonder Woman coming out. That will be coming out in theaters.
Yep. Sonic.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just
that whole disaster.
It is a fact. That is why I'm stating it. That is all that I am saying at this moment.
I mean, the problem is like it's like they may have made the movie better, but
at what
I don't
cost?
know if the cost was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those. It's apparently they're doing a new Scooby-Doo movie. But honestly, I'm not too like there was a few that I saw that war movie
1917.
Yeah, that looked good.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be up for
something.
Some kind of Academy Awards. I believe that's the same director as Kingsman.
I think so.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. We also get the new Top Gun movie this year.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. And we get a new Dr. Dolittle.
Oh,
with Robert Downey
that's
Jr.
Also right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be about as big as his Sherlock movies, which are they come out and they're a thing, and then like everybody kind of forgets about them.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It exists.
It's a thing that's occasionally referenced for the purposes of memes, but
yes.
like not. But it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't think it's a big enough. It's kind of like everybody forgets about the Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle movie.
Wasn't there two of those?
Maybe. Sure.
Why do
not?
I feel like there was two of those ones? I'm just living on Google tonight.
Or are you thinking the Nutty Professor was part of that?
Mm-mm. No, there was totally an Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle too.
Okay. But yeah, but like how many people remember
and
that?
a Dr. Dolittle 3.
Nobody remembers that.
Yeah, with the daughter from the first two.
No.
So I vaguely remember that one. That one's more like a fever dream.
Yeah.
But I don't know. As a kid who read the original Dr. Dolittle, like as a kid, I kind of want to see this one be a little bit more true to the story. Like every single Hollywood movie that keeps getting brought out keeps messing up the story if it's something that is already established.
So is the story about trying to find the great pink sea snail?
No.
Okay. Because I mean that was the Disney's like 60s version.
No, the story was not that. He had different little it was more like a bunch of smaller stories that, oh, this happened and then he was on a ship that crashed and then this happened because of that and this is how he eventually got home and he had a sister. And...
So what you're saying is that this should be a series instead of a feature film.
Gods, yes. Even a mini series like how they did Tin Man, how Sci-Fi did Tin Man. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really feel like Dr. Dolittle to be done correctly from the source material.
Yeah.
Instead of just, oh, we're going to take this concept, kind of like how they did with the Mary Poppins books and movies. I love them, but the original books were just amazing. And while I think that it's great that they did what they did, I would love, when they started remaking them, I would have loved if they'd actually, like, stuck to the material.
To be fair, they did not actually remake Mary Poppins.
No.
They did a sequel.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
So
I'll give them that.
Yeah.
But there's also a sequel book. Yeah.
So
that's just my struggle as a book lover and knower of canon. I get upset. Like how, as much as I love The Wizard of Oz, half of it isn't canon. So.
Yep.
But I wouldn't say half. About a quarter of it isn't canon.
So yeah.
I'm not even counting the shoe color change. No, that was just to make it flashy for the movie, and I'll honestly accept that.
We might be here for a while.
As Courtney gets irrationally mad about things.
So instead, why don't we talk about The Witcher?
Yes.
On Netflix. So,
yes.
So we both independently watched it.
Mm-hmm.
So I came into this, so I had known that it was a book series, and obviously known it was a game series. I've never played any of the games.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to yesterday, I finally, I had picked it up on the Steam sale, the fall sale, when it was $10 for the Game of the Year edition.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd only known about it like through pop culture and through just kind of being tangential to a lot of sort of modern RPGs.
Yep.
That was my experience with it. And that Monster Hunter had done a crossover event with it, where you basically play as Geralt in Monster Hunter and fighting monsters, kind of thing. And they pulled over like a bunch of monsters from Witcher.
Oh, cool.
That you can then fight, kind of a thing. So
see, I didn't even know that bit.
Yeah. So
I mean, I knew.
So you came in kind of just like,
I knew that it was.
I mean, you worked at GameStop, so you knew who Geralt was.
Yes, I worked at GameStop, so I knew that it was a game series. I did not know that it was a book series until I saw the full Netflix preview for it.
Yeah.
And so I also had a friend who was able to tell me a little bit about like the timeline of it.
Yeah.
Because I would have figured it out on my own, but I would have been really confused for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, like I knew generally about like some of the characters, but I didn't know, as I said, I didn't know that it was a book series until it was in the trailer. But I knew that it was a game series, and I really, really, really enjoyed this show.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked it. I think, I mean, Henry Cavill was such a great casting for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he's a super big fan of the game series, of the book series.
Mm-hmm. There's apparently a video of him, there's multiple videos, I believe, of him reading the Witcher books.
Yeah.
So.
And just the way he talks about the production of it, he gets really, it's
a passion
he's
project
very involved, and and he does a great job.
Oh, yeah.
his just the voice that he does is perfect. I mean, you get the feel of how it's what Geralt should sound like, whether it's based on the scripting from the books or what most people are used to from the voice acting in the game series. He really matches it up pretty well. And then just talking about I watched a behind the scenes video the other day where they interviewed him and he was talking about it.
Well, and I think that's kind of like, it's like when you get Ryan Reynolds to play Deadpool. That's a passion project.
Yeah.
And it's something that he's wanted to do.
Yes.
And so you're good when you get an actor in that is doing something that they've wanted to do.
Yep.
In a project that they really, really like, let alone who it's for or whatever. Like, if there's passion already before filming starts, like, it's gonna show through in the final production.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, I mean, effects wise, they did a pretty good job. I think.
I know we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I really like how it wasn't very procedural. I liked how it didn't become a monster of the episode.
Oh yeah. I've seen some complaints that like it should have been a monster of the week type show, sort of like how Supernatural started out. I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that, just because I know that it really is like this sort of big overarching.
Well, there's more to it. It's more of a story.
Yeah.
Like when you're taking something from novels, like yes, even in the game series, you're fighting monsters, but you're also, there's tons of plot and tons of all of these side,
which conversely was the problem that people had with The Mandalorian. Is that they hated that it was like basically a procedural with like a background plot.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I don't know what's gonna please people, but yeah. So to get into it, and basically like all the topics we're gonna cover, we are gonna get into spoilers. So if you don't want to listen,
tonight is gonna be quite spoiler cast.
You might want to skip this episode.
Come back to it once you've watched Rise of Skywalker. Come back to it once you've watched Witcher.
And have you finished Mandalorian?
I've not.
All right, so we won't talk about Mandalorian.
I'm sorry, I haven't watched the last 2 episodes.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry, my depression has been so bad.
This is the best 2 episodes.
Trust me, I'm planning, but like I'm also behind. I'm even behind on Critical Role, Sean. My pain has been really bad lately.
You just need 1 hour. 1 hour of your time to finish up Mandalorian.
But I have 2 episodes to go.
Yeah. Yeah, the episode, they're not hour-long episodes.
Oh, no, you're right, because with the credits and everything...
They're like half hour to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I could catch up on everything, heck, tonight at work if I wanted to. If I'm not in too much pain after all this, I might. So long as it's a chill night at work.
Yeah. But
that being said,
I think one of the, at least between those 2 shows, Witcher and Mandalorian, one of the things to compare and contrast is Netflix did what Netflix does and put the whole season out at once so you can binge it, whereas Disney specifically kept Mandalorian to a weekly release, and I think that has 2 different ways of going about it.
I think if you're going to do something as a weekly release, I think that just the release like schedule of those might be why it was better to have them how they were, with Mandalorian being a background plot and Witcher is here it all is. It's kind of like watching Orange is the New Black.
I think Witcher
binge that
easily had done well as a weekly release. It's just Netflix doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh well, Netflix does that with a few shows. They do that with like the Patriot Act, and there's a couple others, but they're more like comedic news style shows.
I'm just thinking all of their really big stuff.
All of their big shows, all of their big series. They absolutely do all at once. But it's kind of like watching Orange is the New Black in like episodically as opposed to binging it. It doesn't work. if you do it episodically. It's too much cliffhanger, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't know. That's just my personal feeling.
I think Witcher could have done well with an episodic release.
Yeah.
So that way gives you time to digest, like, and try and figure out what's going on and everything.
That I will say is one thing, because I'm really good at binging, everybody. You all know that. Oops. And even because it was so heavy, like, I had to cut it into a few, like...
Well, that's the thing, because then with the timeline stuff, it jumps around a lot. So I think binging actually hurts people trying to do that, because then, like, you get a little bit of whiplash going back and forth between the stuff with Yennefer, the stuff with Geralt, and then the stuff with Ciri.
Yeah.
Because it all happens in different times. Whereas if it was episodic, then you would get a little bit of breathing room to kind of digest and figure out.
Yeah, I think I did I did the first one with our friend Heather, and then I did 2 and 3, or 2, 3, and 2, something like that. I didn't watch more than 3 episodes at a single time. And I know that I watched the last 2 back to back. But yeah, I am very, 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 very thankful to my friend Joe for telling me that there were multiple timelines, because I would have gotten very, very confused and continued to be very confused.
Yeah, and so what we mean by multiple timelines, for those that don't know yet, is...
And who are willing to have it spoiled.
So, and because basically we live in an MCU world where there are now multiple dimensional type stuff or whatever. So it's all technically the same timeline. It's just the series starts with essentially the past.
Yep.
For Geralt.
Geralt's past, and then Yennefer's past.
And then Yennefer's past. And then Ciri's sort of plot is the present. And then eventually Geralt and Yennefer's sequence of events then catch up with the present.
Yep.
And then...
Yeah, it kind of goes like...
Kind of around episode 6 or 7.
It was 6. I definitely remember.
Everything catches up, and then it's present onward.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, you have these two, bottom is Geralt, top is Yen, and then, like, they kind of meet, and all the while series is continuing to go, and then they all catch up together. Yeah. So, which... Knowing it, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Like, I was still able to follow it, and knowing, okay, well, this is just this character's timeline. They made it very, very, like, there wasn't a lot of muddling between the different timelines when things were completely separated.
Yeah.
And then once things joined, like, once Geralt and Yennefer's timelines kind of joined up, they stayed... like together, I guess is the best.
Yeah.
They stayed in the same time span, which made it easier, because then you had those two and Ciri, and then everybody caught up. So
yeah,
which I don't know how I could have handled it reading, unless it was like obvious with little.
That I can't speak to it because I don't have the books.
Yeah.
But.
I've done books that have different timelines, and it can be difficult.
Yeah.
When you're trying to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
Doable if you're able to like get, okay, where is this going?
Well, I mean, also if they give like a notation or something as to the
the tiny notation at the beginning of a chapter or something is usually pretty easy. So.
But, all in all, very enjoyable. I think one of the missteps that people are doing is trying to compare it to Game of Thrones, and it's like,
oh no.
Outside of just being kind of grittier fantasy, like they're not really comparable.
No,
Game of Thrones is like big sweeping, spanning kingdoms.
Yeah,
and it's all about different rulers jockeying for power, whereas The Witcher is basically one guy who's kind of removed.
Yeah, and it's more like he's getting thrown into some of these situations.
Well, I guess to a certain extent is the main thread between all 3 of the stories is they are outcasts of some sort.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I would. I'm thinking like Siri. Yeah, no, she's still.
Geralt is basically an outcast by nature, being a Witcher.
Yep.
He's removed from society.
Yep.
He's a mutant. He's viewed with suspicion and distrust among the general populace.
And then on the opposite hand, you have Yennefer, who is a witch, and she does have those magical powers.
So Yennefer is outcast on multiple fronts. She has physical deformities at the start of the show that are attributed to, again, spoilers, half-elven heritage.
Yeah.
Which, they prevent her from being able to do the drudge work that she's consigned to because her father does not accept her.
Yeah, because it's not,
So there's that.
Yep.
Then outcast for practicing magic and being a mage when she's inducted into the order.
Yep.
Then kind of outcast from the order itself when she goes in direct violation of all their tenets and takes her own assignment.
Yep. Yeah, goes through with the I'm gonna call it the beautification process.
Yeah.
The change, however you want to describe it. But she basically, has that huge metamorphosis.
Yes.
And exactly, she goes completely against all of the rules already set up to get her own placement. And then, yeah, it was...
and then Ciri, because, her kingdom's been taken over.
Mm-hmm.
Her entire family has been killed.
Or is dead.
Well, right.
Grandma wasn't killed.
She killed herself. So,
But yeah.
Yes. And then, on the run, finding out that, they weren't actually as well liked as she was led to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has to basically hide who she is.
Yep. And in the beginning of her entire thing, she is found to have some powers.
Yes.
Which her mother had, as we see in later episodes. But she still has no idea how to control them. She has no idea about any of the world that she is now in as a royal among her populace and of the neighboring countries. Yeah. And so her being able to be finding what she needs, and then this law of surprise having that big thread through everything, with her having to go find Geralt, who as an outcast searching for another outcast. It's kind of the reason why they're called outcasts, because they're not easy to find sometimes.
Yeah, but Geralt's whole thing is, he's basically like a ranger and hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a thing. So, tracking people, things is his specialty.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But she goes looking for him first, not him looking for her.
Sort of. She doesn't really go looking. It's because she has no idea on where to find him.
Yeah.
So she
I'll say that.
So Ciri just kind of stumbles her way through the woods for the entire series.
I'll give you that. Yeah, she knows this is what she has to do, but she has no idea how to start.
Yeah, it's more she is running away from the people that are trying to grab her than she is looking for Geralt for most of the series.
Yes. Yep.
So
I think she puts it best. She's been running from something instead of running to something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But no, I am just mad that we have to wait until 2021 for more Witcher.
I thought it was fall 2020.
Oh, last I heard it was 2021. So if that has changed, I am so happy on that one. But yeah, because that's what I had last heard, was that it would be 2021. Because I know it's definitely been renewed. isn't expected to begin, suggesting early 2021.
Yeah, but I think I thought it was announced.
I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is they could have probably had Henry stop giving him side quests so that he could do the main quest. That's been a joke on the internet I've seen quite a few times.
So it looks like it's possible to arrive in time for Christmas 2020.
So we still have to wait a whole year, though.
Yeah. Which is basically when it came out this year. So, yeah. I mean, taking a full year to do...
But to do something... But to do a series like that, and a series that uses a good amount of special effects, and has also... They have to keep making Henry Cavill's armor.
Yeah. I mean, my point is, they've already done the setup work for it.
Yes.
So making future seasons is easier than starting from scratch.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because you already have models in place.
Yep.
You already have processes set up.
Yep.
You already have crew arranged. So you already have writers on staff and everything.
The artists already know generally the work that has to be done in post and things like that, which does make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we'll see it late this year.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like late November, December this year.
Yep. Thanksgiving time.
I'm confident. No, I think Thanksgiving's too early.
Okay.
I'm thinking like earliest would be like last week of November.
Okay.
But we're looking more probably like mid to late December.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this year, technically.
As we say on January 1st.
So.
Technically this year.
So yeah. And then, so big spoilers.
Yes.
All right. We're going to start talking about Rise of Skywalker and our thoughts and feelings on that. So, if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to have anything spoiled, this is your last chance. Last
chance to bow out, guys.
All right. You have been warned.
Yes.
Okay. So, overall, I enjoyed it.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
So, you know, I know that there are a lot of things to pick apart with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, particularly from several different standpoints.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a representation standpoint. How I don't know if Disney was like kind of throwing out there like, oh, that Star Wars is big on representation or whatever, but I know a lot of folks were at least claiming that and then throwing that like last minute, you know, kiss at the end. Not
that makes me mad.
Not the Kylo and Rey kiss. The one between like basically the two the two fighter pilots. The two resistance fighters. The two resistance crew members.
Yeah.
At the end, as like that was it. And it's like that wasn't really enough. So I would agree. You know, that it's kind of like you don't really get to throw in a little token thing at the end and then claim that it's a big, huge deal.
Yeah. But I also think
because Disney kind of did the same thing with Beauty and the Beast too.
Yes. But just to throw this in there though, because I thought about that and I have seen a lot of things online. Excuse me. I have seen a lot of things online kind of getting mad about that. But I'm like, at the same time, this is a war movie, whether you want to admit it or not.
Well, also that scene was removed in certain international audiences. You know that, right?
Because of course it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's the problem is because Disney's such a global company.
Yeah.
Disney is afraid to, I hate to say take those risks because it's not really that risky.
I'm sorry. If you can throw in a completely superfluous kiss between Kylo and Rey, like what? No. That did not need to be there at all. Did not have to be there. That makes me mad. It makes me angry. I wanted to start booing. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean,
because there was no, unless I completely missed something. Like, yes, there was tension between the two of them, But I didn't think that tension warranted a kiss.
Oh no, that was 100% done for shipping audiences.
No,
which I don't agree with. I don't think I also
give me Poe and Finn kissing instead.
Looking back into prior episodes of this podcast, I believe the phrase like "he is irredeemable" was uttered by yours truly for the murder of one Han Solo.
Yeah, you kill your daddy, you're not.
It's like so the fact that they did redeem him and then push it one step further to do that kiss between Kylo and Rey. It was too much. It was too much.
It was.
They could have left it with just he.
It could have been an embrace.
He died. And
done like I think we were talking about like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they, as I said, like they could have done it as like just an embrace because that tension had been there.
Yeah.
But it did not warrant like that. No, it did not warrant a kiss.
Yeah.
Tension does not always have to be broken with a kiss. Yeah. And no. But yeah, that was that. I think that was one of the only things that actually made me mad about this. Was that kiss. I didn't cry as much as I expected to, actually, which was very, very interesting. I obviously I was very emotional when Carrie was on screen. And you caught this, but I didn't at the end of the movie where Billy had Carrie's jacket on. You caught that and I didn't. Where Carrie Fisher's daughter's character.
Yeah, no, you must be confusing me with someone else.
Maybe Tuck saw it and I didn't.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't really pay that much attention to wardrobe.
Okay, maybe Tuck saw it. But no, but something that actually made me really, really sad and really cry was the C-3PO scenes.
Well, so here's the thing though, is like they play up this thing where like that C-3PO that it's really going to be like this is the end. This is how everything ends. And they do that several times with several characters. They do it with Chewie. Yep. They do it with C-3PO.
Oh, Chewie, I lost it. Chewie, I absolutely lost it at first.
But then they fixed everything.
Yeah.
So Chewie turned out to be a complete misdirection. C-3PO was like, oh, well, it turns out R2 just had a backup of his memories.
Turns out R2 can restore him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, all he lost was, like, basically the chunk of, the last three movies.
Yeah.
Which
no, I thought that it was just that movie because it was her first official mission. So maybe it was like maybe the last.
It's
two
unclear.
Movies.
So, but the assumption is that it's just the recent memory.
Yeah.
So again, like they build up these very emotional things, and then they just kind of like yank the rug right out from under you, and are like, "Oh, just kidding."
Yeah.
Just kidding. Everything's fine. And I feel like those are like it after Last Jedi. Those things felt kind of hollow. Because Last Jedi would have said like, yeah, they're dead. C-3PO's memory's wiped.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We are going to take risks from this, and we are going to gut you.
Well, and that's kind of like the Chewie thing. I was like really, really confused, and then I was really like. I get how they wanted it to go was, bring your emotions up and down and up and down. And I was completely gutted at C-3PO. Like, oh my gosh, like, he's back to base, back to the very beginning. Like, how are they gonna fix this? Because they had brought up the idea that, well, maybe R2's memory isn't able to do that. Well,
and it's also, I mean, if you can do... And here's the other issue though, is like this is not to sort of downgrade sort of the personhood of droids or whatever, but like there are droids. You could just back up their memory to any sort of memory card.
Oh yeah.
You just back it up to whatever sort of ample storage device is able to contain that.
I think it was also the idea that, like, the sass that, like, you know and love of C-3PO wasn't there. Even if it was a temporary thing, it was kind of like he had amnesia during all of that. And even if it is a temporary thing and you need to get somewhere to be able to back him up, the fact that he still doesn't remember these things is still pretty heartbreaking. Because, as I said, it's like if you have amnesia and you can't remember your loved ones, like, even if you know you're going to get your memories back.
I mean, they've wiped C-3PO's memory several times.
Yeah.
In the movie series.
Yeah.
Like, there's chunks that he doesn't remember, but R2 does.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So, I don't know. And then the whole, Bobby, or whatever his name was, that he just, like, randomly shows up in the last battle kind of a thing. It was like, he didn't really need to be there. The little dude that wiped his memory. It was like, why is he here?
Yeah, no.
He's not a pilot or anything.
No.
He's a guy that works on droids. Like, come on.
Yeah, he is appreciated but not necessary in this moment.
It's like it's also like he is not Baby Yoda. He did not earn that right to be. He didn't really earn the right to be on merchandise or anything.
No.
So he didn't earn that right to be featured in the last battle.
No.
Kind of a thing. But that said, I mean, there was also like the fact that once again, it's now Death Star on a starship.
Yeah.
And there's a whole fleet of them now, and it's like,
Yeah, I think
I would have been satisfied. Like, they didn't need to do the planet destroying capabilities. They could have just left it with, it's an entire planet full of a fleet of Star Destroyers. Like, that alone should have been enough
terrifying
to be terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we are blowing out the sound levels here. So we gotta pull it back a little bit.
We're very excited about this.
So, yeah, I mean, just, they didn't really need the planet destroying capabilities on those Star Destroyers. Just having that many Star Destroyers.
Just having
or even having like that they have some new force, new deflector shield generation kind of a thing.
Yep.
Or something that makes them just scary and like able to, take out entire fleets.
Yeah, like new technology that came out, or just the sheer amount of them, and or adding some different defenses and new technology.
Or, I mean, when I saw the big gun on the bottom, I was like, oh, so maybe it'll just be like that they just, like, basically barrage the planet with laser bolts.
Mm-hmm.
And it would essentially be like carpet bombing a city.
Yeah.
On Earth. Like, that is pretty terrifying in destruction.
Oh, absolutely.
Like just that alone is bad.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you don't have to go with the nuclear option every time to make like it, because I mean that basically becomes like, oh no, they're essentially dropping the bomb again, kind of a thing. And it's like, I don't know. And then when I saw like, it started doing the laser, and I was like, oh cool, so laser barrage, and we're gonna cut to the planet just being like bam 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 bam, like taking out cities and stuff. And then it started to just implode the planet and everything, and I was like, again, like I get it, but once again it's kind of returning back to all the safe stuff. And I think unfortunately it was just the volatile reaction from Last Jedi prompted all of these sort of safe choices, or just going back to the well and rehashing the same stuff.
Yep.
So I don't know. But I did like having the top of a Star Destroyer as a setting.
Yeah, I thought that was
a battle.
really,
and not
really cool.
Not necessarily just like, oh, we're in space, and space is the setting, but there's also a Star Destroyer. But the fact that like we're in atmosphere, so that we can actually maneuver around these things, because these are giant, massive ships.
Yep.
And we always look at like the inside of them, but we never really get a sense of the scale.
Yeah.
And that just gives you a sense of how big these things are. I mean, these are massive, massive ships.
Oh yeah, I think as I stink when it comes to figuring out scale of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely stink at it. My spatial awareness is really good at, like, figuring out how a room should be set out or something, like, that I can, like, easily manipulate myself.
Yeah.
When it comes to super big and super small stuff, my scale idea is absolutely bonkers. I don't, my brain cannot wrap around it.
Yeah.
And so being able to have the top of the Star Destroyer be the setting for this huge, massive battle, it made the expanse of these Star Destroyers like so much more attainable for me to be able to actually grasp how big these things are. Because again, also when you're out in space, like, you don't have anything really to compare it to, because all there is space.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to gauge that scale. So having that was really great. And I think that it was a really clever use of it as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like, so I know, one of the things that we talked about after the film coming out of it, our group did, was how they felt that the first 2 acts were much weaker than the third act.
Well, so much was going on.
So I've been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I actually like sort of the breakneck speed that those acts move at.
Mm-hmm.
Because it reinforces the sense of panic
and urgency
that the resistance or whatever they call themselves,
yep,
is facing.
Mm-hmm.
You get this like light speed skipping thing, which I do have minor quibble about that, which like that's not like the point of Lightspeed was like that you're not supposed to be able to do it if there's things in your path, which is why you have to rely on very precise calculations. So the fact that they do it like in major cities and like through creatures and stuff is bad.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's a minor technical fake physics problem.
Yes.
But like it contradicts something that they've set up even in the last film when it's
something that they have set up as canon,
like
as
when
opposed to trying to make like real
when you engage
world
hyperspace through objects, it ends badly.
Yes.
And just, even when you're traveling through space and you end up colliding with objects, it usually ends badly.
Yeah.
Like the only reason why Star Wars ships are able to do that is deflector shields.
Yeah.
Normally, because there's no friction in space.
Mm-hmm.
So, something the size of a marble becomes like a bullet that shears through your hull and then causes major problems.
Yep.
Yeah, just the... So that was a minor thing. They could have easily had fixed that by having it be out of atmosphere, and it's or upper atmosphere or something, and then to showcase play. I think it was just that they wanted to just show like a whole bunch of set pieces and everything, and it's like, well, you don't get to do light speed skipping, quote unquote, into atmospheres like that. I mean, when they jumped, like, it looked like right into the middle of Bespin kind of a thing, or Coruscant or whatever. I was just like, that is a nightmare. That is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, there should be all sorts of weird space-time happening because of that. But it gave a sense of super urgency and panic, and, this is highly dangerous and highly volatile, but it's the only option we have. And they show the consequence. They show at least some consequences of it, where the Falcon like is in flame, like it's on fire.
Yes,
the entirety of the ship is on fire when they finally get through that sequence. So, they eventually repair it.
Yes,
but yeah. So at least I did like the choices of it basically being like an episode of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, where like the 3-second camera cuts.
Yeah.
And I've now ruined Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives for everybody out there listening to this. Next time, actually watch how long each camera shot lasts on that show. I don't mind it because I actually love the show, but they don't let anything linger. So
gosh, that editing must take forever.
Yeah. The chase sequence, I love those vehicles. Just the weird, like, super fast sail barges or whatever.
Yep.
And then those, like, tank bikes that the stormtroopers had.
Yeah, what even were the...
So they're essentially snowmobiles.
Yeah. It was
right?
awesome.
That's essentially what it is. For Warcraft fans, they were very much like the Alliance motorcycles that were part of the Orange City Choppers promotion.
I'm like, I don't know why you're looking at me to get you some.
So basically, it's set up like a snowmobile sled.
Yep.
But then they have a set of treads in the front, as well as a set of treads like in the back, kind of a thing, designed to go, like it functions on the same concept.
Yeah.
Of, essentially having two quote unquote wheels, but
Yeah.
like with treads, you don't really need that because they're wide enough that they keep you stable. And then the fact that they like launch people, like they flip up.
Yeah,
and
that
was
really, really cool.
Yeah.
With the launching, because like there was a few things that I like really, I tend to sometimes get bored with really, really long chase scenes and really, really long battle scenes, unless it's like spliced between with like actual content happening.
Yeah.
I also hate long dance numbers and other stuff too, so it's not just action stuff. I really, really liked the breakneck speed that the first two acts went at because it didn't drag anything out for, 20 minutes. There wasn't a chase scene or anything like that lasted forever. Because it would have lost my concentration.
Yeah. And then in the third act is we got basically like Josh York's favorite things ever.
Yes.
Was like that whole sequence was like, I was like, this is just Xenogears. And so he sat a couple rows behind us in the theater, and afterwards I told him, I was just like, that's just like everything you love. And I was like, the moment I saw, it said like Palpatine come out attached to that big giant machine.
Oh my gosh,
and he's
he's
like now essentially like hooked up into the Sith Matrix.
Yeah, I was thinking Doc Ock.
No.
But no, just for the being hooked up part. But I know that there's another like pop culture thing. But like the first thing that was like, okay, well he's being moved by the stuff, but it's not exactly Doc Ock. It's something else. But Futurama and the thing with the Beast with a Billion Backs being attached to it.
I guess.
Being attached to everybody. That's what it. Yep.
But
that's what Palpatine reminded me of, being hooked up to all those things.
Yeah, no, it was the man becomes God and kills God kind of a thing. Through the power of like machines and cybernetics and stuff is very, very Xenogears. Very, very Monolith soft kind of concepts. And so that whole sequence and then like the Force Storm kind of a thing was pretty cool. And then I like that that Rey basically defeats him the way that Jedi are supposed to defeat things, which is through defense and through deflection.
Yeah.
And like it's basically redirecting his own power against him
as
opposed to not going on the attack.
Yeah, it's using his own power against him. It's kind of like how in martial arts you use your opponent's force and physics to your advantage to help bring them down.
Yeah, well, that's some forms of martial arts.
Yes. Yes.
And certain styles.
Yes, in certain styles, absolutely.
But and then I like all the cameos in the form of voices. I thought it would have been more interesting to have perhaps some of the Force ghosts appear. And then maybe for the ones that like didn't, uncover the secret to becoming a Force ghost, have them
do just voices. Yeah.
But we got a whole cavalcade of characters there. We got Qui-Gon, we got Ahsoka. I believe we got Anakin in there somewhere.
I believe it was.
We did get Obi-Wan.
Yep.
We got Luke. We got Yoda. And we got a few others that like were from Rebels and Clone Wars.
Okay, see, I wouldn't have
stuff.
caught that because I haven't watched either of those.
I only knew that because there are places that publish the full list with characters from where they're from. Yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah, no, I really liked it. I also want to know how much they paid Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I want to know how much they paid him for that cameo.
Probably a lot of money.
Considering he only agreed to do the...
Well, we don't know that.
He only agreed to do the first one of the... He only agreed to do episode 7 if they killed him off. And said, no, I'm not doing this again. Especially after he got hurt so badly on set. Like, twice during The Force Awakens.
Right, but I mean it's Star Wars, so we don't know if there was a whole other agreement kind of a thing.
Yeah, like another little clause in his contract or something. Yeah, but
he is notoriously tight-lipped about any details and stuff because he doesn't really care. Yeah,
he's not a Tom Holland. You could have given him the whole script to a movie that he's not even in that's going to be super big, and he wouldn't tell anybody anything.
Yeah, and he'd just be like, "Oh, why should I care?"
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, and then we got a nice sort of wrap up with Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little more backstory on him and Leia training together.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Like
I think that was a good use of sort of that de-aging CGI effects.
Yes.
I think that's where that technology works is when, like, again, it's dark.
Yep.
It's action shots and everything. So
yeah, I thought,
and like they're wearing helmets, so you have a much smaller face to cover.
Yeah, I think that they did really, really good with that. I knew from the last movie that Leia was a little bit of a Force user. I didn't realize she had her own flipping saber. Like, I did not realize that was a thing. And can we just way backtrack a little bit, because I absolutely was in love with how they sent Leia off and how they did that entire the entire funeral thing. And
well, what I also love is that they used so that it was basically, I mean, if you really think about it, Leia's death kind of came at the hands of Rey. So it kind of reinforces that when Rey loses control, that that bad things happen and she hurts people when she loses control. Yeah. And that causes her to really think about what she's doing. Yeah. And really reflect. Because she thought she killed Chewie earlier in the film. Yeah. And then now she kind of responsible for killing off Leia. Yeah, and we know that it had to kind of happen that way because of the unfortunate circumstances with Carrie Fisher. But but I think that was a very poetic way of doing it.
I was absolutely sobbing during those couple of scenes. It was extremely poetic. It was extremely...
And it kind of mimics the way Luke went out as well.
Yes, and that was what I was going to say. It definitely brought those similarities, and it reminded you more that, well, as you said, that's how Luke went out. Yeah. And it just brings that bond of them back together because, yes, you think about them as siblings, but they didn't grow... They aren't the normal siblings. Because they, didn't grow up together. They didn't, spend tons and tons of time together. And so, he's been off doing his thing, and she went off and did her thing, and she became a general, and he became a hermit, and, and I felt like it was so touching. And then at the end, because they did do a, in memory of, Carrie Fisher at the end of, The Force, The Last Jedi, but her name was first in the credits.
Yeah, she got first billing.
She got first billing. Yeah. And I did some, acting and stuff like that when I was in high school, and I know how much that means. And for her to have gotten top billing is probably the best closure, I think, within this series. And I think that get her, the way that they were so respectful around her passing, and I actually read
I think it would have still been nice if they had, done like a little memoriam. Like I know Star Wars doesn't do stingers or anything, but it would have been nice maybe like at some point during the credits that they had done a memoriam for her, like they did for Stan Lee.
Mm-hmm.
After, I think it was in the special edition edit for Endgame.
Yes, I think
because like they didn't have one in the initial release.
No, they didn't.
And I think they were like scrambling to make one up. And then when they did the re-release into the theaters, they did that.
But I think that to be very honest though, as I said, like I know that they did the in memory during the previous film, and I really felt like she had her with how respectful and how emotional and how like it wasn't just Leia dying. That was for them to also be able to process Carrie's passing. Yeah. And I read an article that Tuck shared a while back about an interview of Billie Lourd, who, if you aren't aware, it was Carrie Fisher's daughter, and about her talking about her relationship with her mom and her relationship with Leia as this character that just penetrated her mom's life.
It's kind of it's a very fascinating read. It's kind of not unlike sort of Leonard Nimoy's kind of coming to terms with Spock.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Well, whereas Billy didn't necessarily like hate the concept of Leia kind of a thing.
No, but it was just something that like this was what her mom always was seen as, and this is, but she didn't understand it, and then she really started to get involved more. Yeah. And I remember I was sobbing as I was reading that, and like hearing about like how because JJ talked to her and said, hey, we'd like to do this and do it right, and they were very, very respectful around it.
The only sort of digital footage that they did, or digital editing that they did with Leia was sort of those flashback scenes. Yeah, they did not do any of this. They didn't like digitally recreate Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, because they had a good amount
at her quote unquote current age. Yeah. In order to fill in gaps or anything like that. They used all footage that they had shot
previously
and re-edited it.
Yeah.
So and then I presume doing like, if there was scenes where they could have used a body double.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that there were a few
scenes that didn't show her face and it was just, the hand falling and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm sure they probably could have gotten a stand-in.
I'm sure that they did for those things, but you're right, they didn't really do much over her face. And it was very, very emotional. And again, as somebody who has lost a parent, it just how they approached the entire process extremely respectfully. Yeah. And I was very worried about how they were going to do it. Were they going to send her out in a blaze of glory and just have her, or was it going to be something a little bit more drawn out? But I liked how this went.
Yeah. The other question was, are they just going to do it off screen? And it was like, that would have been the easy way to do it. And I think it would have been the cheap way to do it as well.
But I think that they talked about, I believe that Billie talked about that in her article.
Yeah. And they had opted to not do it that way. Yeah. Because it would have felt like a disservice to the character.
Oh,
and to Carrie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've certainly talked about this for long enough. All in all, we both enjoyed it. Obviously, the last 3 Star Wars films in the series, I mean, you could argue that Rogue One and Solo were also kind of divisive in terms of audience reaction to it. So really, I would recommend go seeing it if you're a Star Wars fan, because it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Go see it. Whether you're going to enjoy it or not, I mean, I can't tell you that. That is up for you to decide. So, it made me remember I had a post that showed up on Facebook from a couple years ago when we went to see Last Jedi.
Oh, yep.
And it was what was it like? If am I going to enjoy Last Jedi? It was something where it was just like the scene from Empire Strikes Back of like Luke going into the cave or whatever, and he's like, "What will I find in there?" And it was like only what you take with you, and that's very much Last Jedi.
Oh yeah,
thing. So
yep,
yeah, I think this one has parallels to Return of the Jedi. But ultimately, like, it's a lot more kind of fan servicey, nostalgia, kind of a trip, like Force Awakens was. So if you're looking for something that really pushes the envelope, like Last Jedi did, and like did stuff new, you're not going to get that. So that's what I can accurately sort of forecast, I guess.
Yeah. I am someone that, the prequels was my introduction to Star Wars. And I, at that young, tender age, loved Jar Jar and all the annoyingness that came with that. And I feel like having grown up with the prequels and now the sequels, like, I am somebody who I plan on getting a box set of all 9.
Yeah.
And similar to how I plan on getting the MCU 22 disc box set. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That will cost you $400.
Pretty sure I could make it myself for cheaper.
I mean, well,
individually finding deals.
Finding deals maybe, but like most of those films are probably still like $20 to $22 a piece.
Yeah. So, but like I greatly enjoyed it, and I think that having that be the end of this series, was great. I really enjoyed it, and one thing that I really like is that as somebody who I have not seen Clone Wars, I have not seen like any of the offshoot anythings, haven't read any of the extra books in the Star Wars universe.
Well, and that
which aren't Disney canon or are,
well, no, there are ones.
There are ones.
There are extra books now, and the problem is that there's a lot of stuff that's in those books and comics that movies like this one tie into.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but I like
so like the whole thing with Palpatine
have read these things.
Well, the whole thing with Palpatine was covered in those books.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So it then become, and stuff like with Vader, for previous films is covered in those books and stuff, and that like really rounds out things so that people who don't read them then go into this movie are like, well, why is it like this kind of thing? And
but
so
see, I didn't.
Disney wants to say, we'll buy this book.
See, I didn't feel that it was. Well, I understand that, as you said, it rounds them out.
Like, it's implied at the end that the former Stormtrooper character is Lando's daughter. Like, it's implied, but like it's spelled out in like a character book or whatever that comes out independently. Like, oh yes, this is Lando's daughter, and it's like, why? Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a problem that Star Wars has always had, where people are looking for more information, and previously it was intentionally left vague so that way like there were no answers. It was like, oh well, what is this thing? Oh, I don't know. It's just a thing. A lot of alien species were like that. But then there was such a fervor for this information that people kept pushing and pushing, and so to make money,
then they
started releasing character books and creature books and space tech books and everything or whatever, like technical specifications for X-Wings.
Yeah.
That it's always a thing where I remember it was interviews with George Lucas and Mark Hamill. Fans would come up and ask like some question about the technical specs of this thing or whatever, and say like, oh, but if that was possible, then then how is it able to do this or that and whatever? And and their question was like, guys, I
this is a different world.
I just make a movie.
There are different physics.
or Mark's like, I'm just an actor. I don't know. So yeah, that is a thing where
but I felt like I wasn't missing so much.
Okay, well, that's good because I know a lot of people were.
Yeah, I personally, as somebody who has really only seen 1 through 9 now, I did not feel like I was.
Well, you also saw Rogue One and Solo.
I did.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I was missing like so much information that I couldn't follow it.
Yeah.
And so I might be an outlier in that, but I took Palpatine coming back as, of course he did. Evil doesn't die that easily.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing: is it might not have even been the same Palpatine.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is cloning, right?
Yep.
Because again, that Death Star blew up.
Oh yeah.
At the end of Return of the Jedi, but it's entirely possible that then there's another clone, doing
somewhere
something
else
on Sith planet kind of thing, or whatever, or that he
there's
did
a
get
little
out.
Palpatine school,
or
it's
that
raising the clones. I'm sorry.
It's the den of evil. So, but anyway, we got to get off this topic because we got to get through what's going on with 8-Bit Adventures.
Yes.
So basically this week there will be an 8-Bit Adventures draws on Thursday.
So tomorrow.
Yes. But if people are listening to the podcast.
Yes.
So apologies for the lack of Berkshire Bites. We just haven't been able to really sit down and record it. We were going to, and then the holidays basically happened, and it's been an absolute mess.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to sit down and record it next week. So we'll have it ready to go for you. The comics are back up. So
yeah, we have a new one.
Going to get running and everything. And then so starting sometime later this week, possibly this weekend, if not sooner, merch store will be up and running. So
get ready to collect some of my holiday bonus.
I put up that poll on Facebook for what people wanted. Y'all are crazy and voted for the more expensive t-shirt options. So t-shirts are $30.
Tri-blend.
They are tri-blend. The other option was a perfectly suitable sort of pulled and then ring spun cotton blend, or pulled, combed, and ring spun cotton blend, similar to what Cantrip uses for their t-shirts. Nobody wanted it, so everybody opted for the tri-blend. So t-shirts will be $30. There will be stickers available for around $5.
Stickers.
Hats, again, I think around $25 to $30. And posters for about $25.
Nice.
So of the character poster in the back. So
this one.
There we go. Yeah. So that poster will be available on the store.
You can see it behind my head very well.
Yeah. So this will not be, I think we previously discussed it on the podcast. This will not be through Streamlabs. Because the cost ended up being more expensive than just doing it through other services myself. The advantage is this way, if there are any other custom products that aren't available through the printing service that I use and available through other services, I can still do that, such as the books. So eventual 8-Bit Adventures books will be available on the store when they're done. Of course, y'all also voted to do color books instead of waiting, instead of just doing black and white books and having them be available now. So they'll be available in 2022 maybe.
You need an intern again to help with that thinking.
So the issue was, I did have an intern, but the problem was that we had to meet basically off site, since I basically do this out of my house. And, you know, they didn't have any software, so I couldn't have them just color stuff, which would have been the hope. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. And then next week, 8-Bit Adventures podcast, 8-Bit Adventures plays.
Yep.
Probably going to do a different game this week. I'll put up a poll, maybe. We'll see if we do Pokemon Sword, we'll do Slay the Spire, or we'll do some Stardew Valley to try out that new patch.
On the 9th, are we talking about? For next week?
It's whatever, not tomorrow, but next Thursday is.
Yeah, so that's the 9th. Maybe message me and we can get the 8-Bit Adventures farm going.
Maybe. I know it's always...
Thursdays are always rough.
We have a lot of problems with that, trying to get that to work, because it would have to be over internet.
Yep.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Never hurts to try. And then, next Friday, we also have 8-Bit Adventure Plays.
Yeah, so next Friday we also have episode 2 of Dark Matter. So, be sure to tune in for that. We are expecting to have a full group. Sean, watching you. Not me, but the other Sean. So that way
the other Sean that's usually to the right of me.
So yeah, be sure to tune in for those. And yeah, I mean that kind of basically wraps up what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah, be sure to go check out the comics up on the website 8-bitadventures.com. Just kind of continuing along with the current storyline. My hope is to, I mean, it'll probably take through the rest of the year, because it does take a while to get through, because it is a weekly. It does take a while to get through like a chapter. My hope is to have chapter 3 done by the end of the year. And then we'll see on how that goes. It may happen sooner, depending on circumstances. And then chapter 4 will kind of transition into a more less overarching plot, maybe, and a little more of just like, you know, kind of topic of the week kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. But yeah. So that's going to wrap up what's happening this week in 8-Bit Adventures. Mm-hmm. So let's take a little bit of time to talk about what's going on with Questlog. So Questlog is where we just do a quick wrap up of what sort of geeky stuff we've been consuming.
Yes.
Over the past week. It has been a while since we've done a podcast, so some stuff has been built up, but basically, Courtney, you've been playing Stardew Valley.
I have been playing Stardew. As we discussed, I have, watched The Witcher. Since we last recorded, yes, Rise of Skywalker, and then more Stardew. And yeah, my plan is to hopefully over this upcoming weekend to catch up on all sorts of other geeky things that I have been letting get to the side because I have not been able to focus as much. So plan to get caught up on Mandalorian, planning to get caught up on a few other Disney Plus shows that I've been watching, the Jeff Goldblum one that we talked about before.
Yep.
And just really like kind of get back into watching Critical Role because I'm like at least one episode behind on that, and yeah, it's been a lot of everything. But hey, I got an A- in my class last semester, so
there we go.
Just got my grades in today, so there's that. All of that doing nothing for gaming last semester, it paid off, at least in one of my classes.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Sean? I know that you've been playing.
I've been playing a wide variety of things, actually.
Yeah.
So I finished Shovel Knight King of Cards. That's a great game. And yeah, it turns out, the whole actual like card game aspect of it, totally optional. You can not do that. I mean, it does. So playing the card game and beating opponents does give you extra like medals, which allow you to buy like certain power-ups and everything. They are kind of entirely optional.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they make stuff a lot easier.
Okay.
So there is that.
Yep.
Otherwise, so it's kind of revealed at the end of the game that it's a prequel to Shovel, whereas the other two sort of Shovel Knight expansions were kind of like concurrent.
Yeah.
This one's basically a prequel.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's because, like, King Knight's thing happens so early. Like, you basically fight King Knight, like, wicked early in Shovel Knight. And so, like, that game ends, and it's, like, basically, like, after the credits roll or whatever, it's like he's finally, like, outfitted the castle how he wants and everything, and he just goes to sit down on the throne, and then Shovel Knight pops in. And it's like, prepare for battle! So it's like, the game ends, like, right when you would go and fight him as Shovel Knight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, King Knight's a jerk. And his true colors are shown at the end of the game.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
It's actually refreshing.
Like, why am I not surprised?
It's actually refreshing to see a character that is kind of a jerk not get redeemed at the end of the game.
Oh, I love that.
So that's a little spoilery. But again, like, there's been plenty of spoilers.
We should make sure we put in the tag when we
publish
this.
There's gonna be a spoiler warning. Yeah. So what else? So
I know you've been playing. You were playing Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion 3. I mean, overall, it's fun. I'm getting hung up on a lot of the controls. And some of the stuff like collecting booze. Is just like kind of tedious, and so this may be just a game where I kind of just like push through it and just play through the storyline and just like not bother with collectibles at all. Slay the Spire. I started playing.
Talking about that.
So Slay the Spire is a roguelite card game, where you basically go through different levels, and like sometimes you are fighting enemies, and what you do is you play different cards on your turn.
Is it kind of
like fight combat?
Is it kind of like Magic cards?
No, think like when I was playing SteamWorld Quest.
Got it.
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
And then basically like you're building a deck as you climb higher and higher into the spire. And then played Littlewood. Tried that out.
Yeah.
So Littlewood's an early access on Steam. It's kind of like Stardew Valley / Animal Crossing Lite. It's a game where you are the great hero that saved the world. This takes place after that happens. You have also lost your memory, so you have no knowledge of being a hero and saving the world.
You don't know how you saved the world.
You've
just been told that you did.
It's everyone else is being like, oh, it's the glorious hero, in my case, Sean, and he saved the world, and what are you going to do now? And so you're just like, well, I don't know. So I guess I'll just help rebuild this town. So, so kind of like Stardew Valley, you're working to like kind of rebuild a community, and there's like plenty of activities you can do by like mining, growing crops, fishing, catching bugs. But
the catching bugs one was interesting because that's not available at Stardew, and I was like, ooh, bug catching.
Okay, it is available in Animal Crossing.
I was gonna say that reminded me of Animal Crossing because I haven't. Yeah. I had my own issues with Animal Crossing, but
so but the catch is that you can also so like by talking to villagers that eventually come and live in your town, they will give you buildings to build. And that's how you build your town infrastructure, is by talking to people and like getting them to move into your town. You'll have more buildings to build. Those buildings grant you additional activities to do during the day. Now, much like Stardew Valley, is you have an energy bar. So unlike Stardew Valley, there is no way to regain energy throughout the course of the day.
Okay. That's fair.
On the flip side, there is no timer either.
So you don't just automatically pass out at 2 a.m.?
No. So what happens is the day progresses as your energy bar fills up. And you do things. So the more things you do, the later and later it gets.
Okay.
And, like, you can go to bed at any time before your energy bar completely fills up. When it's completely full, you will get a message that says, I should go to bed now. You can decide to do one more thing that requires energy. And if you do, then you pass out and just stay wherever you are.
Yeah.
And then what happens is your bar is like 33% full the next day.
Yeah.
To simulate that you
kind of like
slept in late and woke up late.
Yeah, kind of like if you not with the timer part, but with the energy amount that you have, if you go to if you stay up until after midnight in Stardew, and then after 1 a.m. you have less energy at the beginning of the day the next day.
Yeah.
But then you just go to the spa and it's all taken care of.
It's just it's just with this game is because there's no clock and there's no timer, so the day only progresses as you do activities that require energy, and not all activities require energy. So like upgrading a building doesn't cost any energy. So like what you can do is you can spend all day like collecting resources and everything.
Mm-hmm. Upgrade those buildings right before you go to bed.
And then upgrade those buildings is like the last thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Now on the flip side, talking to people requires energy.
Oh, absolutely.
So the thing is, like, you have to make sure that you don't accidentally talk to anybody and then pass out in the street. Because that will happen. You also have to make sure, like, you don't...
Is that an option in real world, too? Like, can I just start doing that instead?
You also have to make sure
like,
you don't
I run out of spoons, and it's just like, yeah, no.
It basically becomes like, okay, I'm going to take my finger off of the A button. And, like, I'm not even going to put it near it because I don't want to accidentally click on anything. So, like, because accidentally chopping a tree, pulling weeds, talking to somebody that you haven't talked to yet today, all require energy. So you could accidentally, like, run into something and use up your energy and then pass out. And then go, oh no, my plan is all ruined. You
accidentally make eye contact with somebody and talk to them in the real world. And then just pass out. I can that. The thing is, now, does your stuff get looted like it does when you pass out in Stardew? Because even if you pass out on your farm, outside of your house...
No, you do not lose anything.
Okay.
This is meant to be a very chill game. There are no monsters. Well, that's not entirely true. So by and large, there are no monsters.
If you do not want to experience monsters, you do not have to.
However... there are two areas of the game in which there are monsters. So there's the Endless Forest, which is basically... So at the start of the game, once you build the sort of air balloon platform, you can ride an air balloon, or a hot air balloon, I should say. So the hot air balloon platform, you can ride a hot air balloon to the Endless Forest or the Dust Caverns. So the Endless Forest is basically where you... have like a constantly replenishing supply of wood, weeds, fish.
Okay.
And like some bugs. Where it becomes a good place to farm wood.
Yep.
And like level up your wood cutting skill. In the Endless Forest, in certain locations, and because it's like randomly generated every time you go there, there are dark trees, and what they do is if you get close to them, they get angry, and then what they do is...
Do they chuck apples at you?
No. After a certain time period, like at every certain number of intervals, they will spike a root out of the ground at you. So basically...
How rude!
So all you have to do, number one, if you keep moving, you can outrun it.
Yeah.
Because it just like it targets a square, so as long as you're not on the square, you're fine.
Yeah.
But it's a case where like if you're trying to farm something and you're within range or whatever, it's like you might get like one hit in and then you have to do hit and run tactics to farm stuff.
Yeah.
In the Dust Caverns, there are these little, I don't quite know what they are, but they make little like pig noises. They're like little round ball creatures that have like kind of a little dragon-like face. And all they do is they just move around in, a random pattern type thing. And the idea is if you just touch them, what happens is you get stunned. And when you get stunned, you are kicked out of that zone and you can't go back in for the rest of the day.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's not like terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can stun the dark trees by hitting them with an axe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a way to stun the little pig creatures, but you can just avoid them.
Okay, it's not like the slimes in Stardew that will chase you down.
This is not a game that is centered around combat. There is no combat skill. Your life as a hero is done. You are now the mayor. You are the mayor of the town, and your job is building infrastructure. It's not fighting monsters anymore.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a nice little interesting game. It's kind of a chill game. Because it's an early access, it's like half built right now. But I put like 14 hours in.
I'm really excited. I really, really hope that this comes to Switch.
Well, so they have announced that it will be coming to Switch. They have a dev kit for Switch.
Sweet.
So it's just, they have to...
It's just a matter of when.
They have to get out 1.0.
Yep.
Full release on Steam first.
And that's totally fine. I'm completely...
And then they can work on the Switch version.
Yeah, I completely understand that they got to get it out first. And...
So I would say we'll probably see a Switch version in 2021.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it's again a nice little indie game.
Yeah, it's something that, and I know when I was looking at it, what's today? Wednesday. When I was looking at it yesterday, when you brought it up, it was 10% off on the Steam store.
Yeah, which again,
but it's a $15 game.
Again,
and it is an early access.
Early access. So yeah, I mean, expect bugs.
Beta testing.
Expect, there's a lot of placeholder text. There's a lot of, things where like an event is supposed to happen and it just shows up as like a blank thing that shows up on the screen. For anybody that's beta tested Warcraft stuff before, they'll have a cutscene that says like awesome cutscene here. Things like that happen. So keep in mind that this is a game in development, but
if you get it now, you won't have to pay for it later.
That's one thing. The other thing, the developer's name is also Sean. So, Cool Sean Club, and Sean puts out content, like he makes updates and content on like a weekly basis.
Oh, nice.
So it's regular stuff has been happening.
As I say, it looked from what I'd seen on Steam, because I took a good like 10-15 minute look at it on Steam, and it looked like they were working pretty constantly to keep adding stuff and hearing about, oh well, this is the glitch that's going on, things like that, because that's the other thing that you can do in early access, right? Is
yes,
that
you can also provide feedback.
Yeah.
So and there's a lot of feedback going on, a lot of bug reporting and stuff. So if that's your jam, definitely check out that game.
Yeah, as soon as it is available for me to put on my wish list.
Yeah.
On the Nintendo eShop, that will be going on my wish list, and then I will actually possibly even set an email alert to say when I can buy it.
Yeah.
Because some stuff you can put on your wish list way before it comes out, and some stuff you have to just wait.
Yep.
But yeah, no. So I'm excited to start playing that.
Yeah.
Because it looks absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
And I have almost. I'm pretty sure after today.
There is a bird guy. He's a bird man. He unlocks the tavern, which allows you to cook things.
Nice.
And what cooking does is you cook dishes and then you put them in the pantry in the tavern.
And they get sold.
And they get sold. So the tavern is just cooking for money. Like you don't get buffs or anything from eating.
Okay.
The food. You don't actually eat anything in the game. So unlike Stardew, where like you can eat stuff for energy or health or whatever, like there's no health bar, there's no energy.
Well, again, there's no combat.
There's no combat or whatever. But for growing crops, you can either sell the crops directly or you use them for cooking
recipes. Yeah.
So, and there's a whole bunch of skill tracks, so like Stardew Valley. So, there's wood cutting, mining, fishing, bug catching, farming, cooking, merchant, and gathering.
Nice.
Yeah. I think that's it. So it's wood cutting and gathering, and then mining and bug catching, And then there's 5. Fishing. Crafting.
Yeah.
Cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Farming. And merchant. And merchant is just, you can build a town marketplace. It's got 8 slots. You just put whatever you want in those 8 slots, and overnight, they get sold, and you just collect the money. And when you do that, you gain merchant experience.
Because the little mice sell stuff for you.
No, it's the villagers buy stuff.
I meant the little mice run the stand that the villagers buy stuff from.
Nah, it's the villagers. You're the hero that saved the world. They're not going to steal stuff from you. So they're just like, oh, yeah, okay, so, all right, Sean's selling carrots today? All right, I'll give him $4 for carrots. There we go.
They respect the sign.
There's also goblins that will just, like, show up in town. Goblin merchants. They all talk like Professor Egad, so they're all like, yabble, yabble. Gobble, gobble. And they just, like, give you stuff.
Yes.
They're not really merchants, I guess. They just kind of show up and just give you things if you talk to them.
Gift goblins.
Yeah, they're kind of gift goblins. Yeah, sometimes they give you money, sometimes they give you resources. So.
Yep, I need to get this game.
Yep. I think they're called gobos as well. Yeah. So.
That's awesome.
Let's see, what else is there? There's also pets. You can unlock a pet store. And there's exotic pets.
I want a macaw.
There is, I think it's called the paradise bird or something. It's not a parrot, but like it's a very tropical looking bird of paradise type thing. There's a fox. There's a rabbit. There's a turtle.
Let me guess, you have the turtle.
I have all of them. And a penguin. Yeah.
I'm still not sure how I feel about penguins. I'm not terrified of them anymore.
So,
but I'm still not sure how I feel about them in general.
Yeah. And that's basically what I've been up to.
Cool.
So, we are running a bit long, although not as long as I thought, but it is getting a little late. So, we are heading out. If you want to see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, be sure to check out 8-bitadventures.com. If you want to help support that content, you can become a patron at patreon.com/8bitadventures. Big shout out and thank you to all of our current patrons.
Whoop.
Thank you very much for your continued support. Looking forward to having a wonderful 2020 thanks to you. Our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And with that, we are done. So, as always, have fun, everyone. Happy gaming. And enjoy your pie cake.
Bye, everybody.